Well, I remember very vividly the first time I ever saw Isaiah Kacyvenski, and it started with seeing him on film. Mike Foley, our offensive line coach, who was our New York recruiter, gave me a video cassette. He said, "Coach, you gotta take a look at this kid. I think he's really, really good." And he's one of those guys you didn't need to watch very much film to realize this kid can really, really play. Flew into Syracuse, drove to his home in Binghamton, New York, because we were very late in the process. It was December of his senior year, and rumor had it he'd already committed to a scholarship school, and we didn't know a whole lot about him. So I got to his house, and whenever you get to a house on a recruiting visit, you're going to have sort of a feeling for what the situation is, and it was a very, very humble situation. And I remember it was blowing, it was snowing, it was cold, and I stood out on the front door and knocked for about 5 minutes, and no one seemed to answer. And finally, I tried the door and I let myself in. He eventually came down the stairs. "Coach Murphy, nice to meet you," and we just talked. And at one point, I just said, "Isaiah, I know you've got to make this really big decision, and we respect that, but I was under the impression that your parents were going to be here so they could at least hear what I have to say." And he looked at me funny, and I thought, okay, something's coming. I'm not sure exactly what. And he said, "Well, Coach, I'm here by myself. My mom passed away a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just here by myself." And at that point, you stop being a recruiter and you become a parent again. And it was clear that this was somehow a very, very special kid. Comes down, has a great visit. He says, "Coach, I know, Harvard's what I want." And the rest is sort of history. Isaiah was a great leader, and I think he was such a great leader because he always set the standard for work ethic. He always set the standard for self-discipline and ability to deal with adversity. And to us as a team, those are always the things that we talk about. It's not how much talent we have, it's how much character we have. And he was the epitome of what you want to have from a character standpoint. I think it would be hard to describe Isaiah in just one word, but if I could use two, I would say resilient and relentless. Probably the most resilient and relentless kid I've ever been around. I don't think any of us could have predicted the incredible success he's had, not because he wasn't talented, just because it was more about who he was than any God-given talents. We knew he'd be a great player. I'm not sure we ever would have known he'd be an NFL draft choice, an NFL captain. We knew he'd be a really good student. I'm not sure we ever would have thought he'd be a Bingham Award winner or be a Harvard Business School graduate. Probably the most driven, in the best possible way, probably the most driven kid I've ever been around. And whenever we get a new assistant coach, we talk about what are we looking for. He's sort of the standard by which we measure all the other guys in terms of character. If we could recruit half a dozen Isaiah Kacyvenskis every year, I think we wouldn't have to do much coaching.